Wonderful. Great articulation there. It's 10 o'clock, viewers. It's 10 o'clock. At 9 o'clock, we were joined by our august guests here. And now we have a new set of people joining us. We've heard from David Frawley. We've heard from Swapan Das Gupta. We're going to be continuing to be treated by the eloquence of Dushyant Sridhar. We've heard from K. Annamalai. And now we are joined by another set of guests this morning. Mr. Ram Madhav, author and member of the RSS. Somebody who is one of our preeminent intellectuals, public intellectuals also. And also, of course, Dr. Ranganathan. What more can I say about Dr. Ranganathan? He's somebody who has established himself very firmly as one of India's leading and most articulate voices on current affairs. So it's always a pleasure. Dr. Ranganathan, look, as a citizen, you know, I think I never expected to, in some ways or the other, relive the opening of a new parliament. I think this generation is privileged. 1947, momentous as it was, we weren't around. Television wasn't around in the manner that we see it today. Neither was there social media, etc., to capture every nuance and every moment. This is truly an occasion made for television also at some levels. And it is also a reminder to a whole new generation, in fact, the third generation born free, that we remain a robust democracy with a temple that stands visibly before us, honoring that democracy. I think this is really what is going to come through today.
Good morning, Rahul, and good morning to all my fellow panelists. Absolutely right. I think it's a great day, momentous occasion. You know, as I say, some advance towards greatness, others return to it. We Indians do both. And I think the symbolism of what is transpiring right before our eyes is truly breathtaking. Because, you know, we are advancing towards surely being a superpower. If not in the next 20 years, then surely in the next 30, 40 years, if all goes well. We needed this new parliament as a symbol of our modernity, our liberalism, our democracy. And we are looking back as well to what we were, truly one of the greatest nations on this earth. We have cradled civilizations. Perhaps the first civilization was cradled right here. And to have a symbol of, you know, something that was used 1,000 years ago is truly breathtaking. That tells you that, as I said, we are advancing towards greatness, but we are returning to it as well. And I think very few nations are capable of doing that. A lot of nations advance towards greatness without looking back because they weren't great. We are. And as you said, Rahul, I think I feel a bit sad today that, you know, a huge chunk of our political parties are not taking part in this wondrous ceremony. You know, you might have differences with, I mean, as I say, Congress, for some odd reason, loved Mountbattens, but they hate Modi. I don't know why. But the fact remains that they should have been here, you know, if not for Modi, but for India. You know, there are things that transcend people. As, you know, they say in the armed forces, salute the rank, not the man. You know, here Congress should have saluted the rank. And I think it's a real pity because what they're missing is truly something momentous.
Truly momentous. Yes, it is truly momentous. And remember, viewers, we've had the infliction of an emergency in 1975. And that was roughly, you know, 25 years, or to be exact, my math's really not my strong point, but 52 to 75, whatever is the difference. We suddenly, you know, had that tryst with destiny in 52 with our first, or democracy really, in 52 with our first election, and we almost suspended democracy in 75. We did, in fact, for 2 years. None of us were there. Very few of us have a memory of those times. Remember, almost 45 to 50% of our population today is under 30, and a significant more is under 50. So that memory remains hazy. And today, when we rededicate to ourselves, to this nation, our parliament, we should pause for a moment and celebrate the fact that not only have we cradled civilization, but we've also cradled one of the greatest values of civilization, which is liberal democracy. And here it is. here it is. So I agree with you, Dr. Ranganathan. I think this was an event that should have been elevated to a bipartisan forum, as Parliament is, and perhaps the people should have come from the opposition. But let me bring in Mr. Ram Madhav. I don't want to presage him. Mr. Ram Madhav, the rehabilitation of the Sengol is an important marker. Now, you heard Dr. Ranganathan, and he said that we cradled civilization, that we birthed it, but somewhere we also orphaned our past. How did it come to this?
Rahul, thank you for calling me. I agree with Mr. Ranganathan that there will be certain very solemn occasions in the life of any nation where, despite differences, we all should actually show complete solidarity. It's very unfortunate in that sense that so much of unnecessary politicking is happening over both this new parliament building as well as over that important ceremony of installation of Sengol next to the seat of our speaker. There can be a full debate over what is Sengol, what's significance and all. But definitely not just we, Rahul. Many nations in the world cherish their civilizational symbols. They don't simply give up on those symbols. Even to this day, the President of the US takes oath by placing his hands on the Holy Bible. That custom continued, in spite of the fact that the US is much more secular than many of us, irrespective of who is in power, whether it is Democrats who are more liberal or Republicans who are more conservative. And the same type of scepter, which is a part of the royal regalia in UK, has been in vogue right through the history until today. I mean, you have seen earlier this month Prince Charles, taking over as the king of the United Kingdom, and he had this scepter in his hands. These are certain symbols of your cultural, civilizational history. You will always be proud to wear them. Very unfortunate that our opposition, certain opposition parties are trying to, nitpick over its history, etc. These are occasions when we should show greater maturity and solidarity. I mean, very recently Prime Minister Modi ji was in Australia. We hosted that community event for all the community members. Both the Prime Minister and leader of the opposition, both were present. In the Australian Parliament, when discussion happened over Prime Minister Modi's visit, both the Prime Minister and leader of the opposition both heaped praise on our Prime Minister and India's rising stature and contribution of Indian community. These are occasions when the whole political establishment comes together. It's so sad, and it's the nadir for the opposition political parties in our country that they are behaving in this way today when the country is rejoicing over the inauguration of our new parliament building.
It's very interesting, viewers, that many rituals were performed this morning, but one of them was, of course, the placing of the Sengol, rededicating it back to the nation, really, by placing it in the Lok Sabha. And I want to bring in Shailesh Vumudi, the great-grandson of Vumidi Bangaru Chetty, who was the designer of this Sengol. Of course, this Sengol was a metaphor, really, for what was used during the Chola era. But Mr. Vumidi, you were there this morning, I believe. You were there in Parliament. What did you witness? What were the thoughts that were going through your mind?
Good morning. Pleasure to be among such august personalities.
Good morning to you. Wonderful to have you.
We were yesterday at the Prime Minister's residence, the entire family, where we were greatly honored, and we were witness to the Adheenams, the heads of the Adheenams, interacting with the Prime Minister, and he gave a very wonderful speech in which he acknowledged the contribution of everybody. This morning, I think the entire function was streamed live, so it was very clear what went on. It's a great moment for all of us Indians and citizens to see our ancient past being given such place of pride.
Mr. Mumidi, tell us a little bit about the moment when you were informed that the Sengol was going to be placed in the House by the Prime Minister himself. I'm sure they must have contacted you at some point. What did they tell you? And how did you react?
Well, it was contacted to the family, so I personally was not the person informed.
Right.
But yes, the family is extremely elated that when we found out that the Prime Minister had personally followed on this particular matter and had come to know about the importance of the Sengol and its present location, and they were, I think, rather surprised that it was not given the place of pride that it so deserves. And from there, things moved fast, and I think we are seeing the culmination of the movements.
Well, that's wonderful. Let me just bring in Mr. Dushyant Sridhar. Also, of course, Anand Neelankantan is also here with us, prominent author. Dushyant Sridhar, large number of ceremonies performed this morning. Can you talk us through the significance of these ceremonies? What were they exactly? There was also a multi-faith prayer that we can see. Can you talk us through the panoply and what is the symbolism behind all of them?
Rahul, namaste again. One, the all-faith prayer, as said before, though we are a Vedic civilization in the land, the blood that runs through us is about the Vedic civilization, we have always been very respectful towards the sentiments of all religions. Rather, I did put it this way, Rahul. The fire was invoked, so we had fire rituals. Fire is very important in Sanatana Dharma, which is the majority religion. At the same time, fire is also extremely important in the Parsi religion. So the Parsi religion, Tata group is what that is constructed. So a minority religion also respects fire. So this fire ritual is very important because we see fire as a devata who takes all our prayers to their respective devatas. One. Second thing, the ceremony conducted by the Purohitas also had Punyaha Vachanam. It is called Punyaha Vachanam, where we do a ceremony to purify our senses, to purify our thoughts, so that we can function as a very, very, probably if we are a good democracy now, as a better democracy ahead. So that is called Punyaha Vachanam ritual. And of course, the Sengol, which is a symbolism. Actually, many people do ask, if in such a ceremony is Sengol required? Sengol is a reminder of good system, good governance, as much as Bharata saw the Padukas of Rama. So when Rama was not there for 14 years in Ayodhya, in Nandigramam, he worshipped the Padukas. So there is a symbolism there too. It's called Paduka Devi. It is referred to as the queen. So we don't see them as insentient objects. When they are restored in their respective places and not being treated as walking sticks, we see them full of life and full of wisdom.
Full of life and full of wisdom. Very important. Viewers, let me just quickly bring in also Mr. Ram Madhav and Anand Neelankantan. Mr. Ram Madhav, the fundamental point here is that we are witnessing, so the opposition says, the consecration of a Hindu republic. That is what is being said. Overwhelmingly, there is Hindu symbolism, etc., etc. How do you respond to those people who say that? And I also would like to hear after you, Mr. Neelankantan's thoughts on this issue.
Rahul, firstly, just a couple of historical facts. When we talk about the Sengol as a custom from the Chola dynasty, we must remember it was as much a custom with the Pandyas also. In fact, the famous Pandya king, Sengottayan, I think the name he derived from Sengol itself. And even when we talk about Cholas or Pandyas, sometimes there is a tendency to think that they were the royals of some southernmost part of India, Tamil Nadu, which is not a fact. Do you know that this Chola kingdom was as powerful a kingdom, or probably even more powerful, than a Maurya kingdom of Pataliputra of North India? So it had its spread across Southeast Asia. Even to this day, the royals in Thailand call themselves as Cholalankarn. Cholalankarn is the name used for that. It's a very big and very powerful kingdom in medieval India between 5th and 12th centuries. So this symbolism is the symbolism of India. Sengol represented the powerful Indian civilizational tradition. That is something we must remember. But coming to this point of creating a Hindu republic, I would probably like to call it India as a political system will continue to remain a constitutional republic only. It's a republic that is run through the great, important, sacred constitution of India. But the spirit of this constitution is represented by, earlier probably we used to have symbols like Ashok Chakra. You know, we have Ashok Chakra right from the beginning enshrined just behind the podium of the speaker. And beneath that is written Dharma Chakra Pravartanaya. What is this Dharma Chakra Pravartan? Which Parliament House proclaims. That Dharma Chakra Pravartan is what the Sengol represents. Sengol reminds everybody that here in this the very auspicious or very sacred hall that you are sitting here just to preserve, protect and promote righteous rule, righteous governance. And that righteous rule, righteous governance, that dharmic rule in today's context is the rule by the Constitution of India through the principles of enshrined in our Constitution. That itself is Hindu Republic. There is no separate thing called Hindu Republic. It's not separate from what we have in the Constitution. There may be issues to discuss about the Constitution. We have discussed 128 times so far, made necessary changes. That is a different thing. But India will be a constitutional republic imbued with the great Sanatana value system, which is represented by symbols like Sengol, symbols like Ashok Chakra.
Well, let me tell you, viewers, all strands of Indian society today are feeling proud. Obviously, some have greater reach. Some celebrities, some illustrious citizens of this country have greater reach, and they are heard by others. But let me tell you, every Indian is standing proud, and it's very presumptuous to think that Indians would not want their representatives to be part of what we are seeing tonight, or today. So the opposition might have actually overplayed its political hand today. Obviously, they're within their rights, viewers. We are a democracy, we're a thriving democracy, and it only underlines that we remain a thriving democracy where the opposition can, without the fear of consequence, decide to boycott a momentous second tryst with India's democracy and destiny. But let me just play out what Shah Rukh Khan has put out as a video today. Let's listen into that.